must be time to talk technology. Here he is, Ben Aylett, complete with his Hawaiian shirt.
Yep.
After Easter.
After Easter, yeah.
He's kind of got that feeling now that winter's on its way. Once we put Easter behind us, it's one of those things that says, yeah, winter's on its way.
It is on its way. Well, it's threatening to come, but I'm not seeing any evidence going on today's weather. It was just absolutely glorious outside today.
Yep,
it
certainly
really
was.
Nice. Yep.
Calm before the winter storm, maybe.
Bring it on.
By the way, benaylett.com.au is the website, as we always mention. One L, two T's in Aylett, benaylett.com. That's also where you'll find all of Ben's contact information.
That's right.
Yeah. This seems to be the ongoing question at the moment. What does Facebook know about you? I would say the answer is virtually what you decide to tell it.
Well, yeah, everything you tell it and everything you like and everything you say and everything you post. Basically, anything you enter or interact with on Facebook, Facebook is keeping a record of it because that's what they do, really. Yeah, so this is all stemming from a bit of outrage, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But you see, what amazes me is the people who got outraged are the people who seem to be the ones providing the most information. The same people who they'll go and have a cup of coffee and they'll check in. Fred Nurk is having a cup of coffee at Cup of Coffee Co. on Adelaide Terrace. Now, the kind of things that tell people exactly where you are, exactly what you're doing. Now, I mean, some people are just about at the point where they go, Mary Jones is on the toilet at a particular location. And eventually somebody says, gee, why do they know so much? And the answer is because everywhere you go, every person that you go there with, you tag. And you decide that you have to announce everything you're doing. Now, there was a time when only a very few people would know what you were doing.
Absolutely.
Even if you were doing something quite public. Yet now people find this need to share everything they're doing. And then they complain that Facebook knows so much.
Yeah.
Well, it's a technology company. It is going to take notice of what you say.
Exactly. It's their business. It's their business to know everything about you and collate all the information you give them. So I don't know. If you're going to be surprised about what Facebook knows about you, maybe you should check your online habits and just make sure that you're not oversharing. And that's my advice, really.
Seriously, how many people are oversharing? I mean, do you look at stuff sometimes and think to yourself, why do you need to say this? You know, you see, Mary, Jane, Fred, Joe, Francis and Bob are at such and such a place. And instantly I think to myself, why do you need to say that?
Right.
What is the benefit? What is the logic? What is the reason behind that? And then why are you then going to complain that Facebook knows so much about you?
Yeah. Look, I think it comes down to a bit of a phenomenon I've noticed thanks to social media. And there's actually two. So one is that everyone is trying to lead this extraordinary life. So every time something extraordinary or something good or something wonderful happens, they want to jump onto social media and say, my life is good. I'm doing okay.
How does that dovetail with you're having coffee with friends? Guess what? Lots of people every day have coffee with their friends and they don't need to tell the world.
Well, exactly. But a lot of people, there is a section of people out there who feel that need to connect because what they're seeing is a lot of other people doing pretty much the same thing. So they might be going out and having a really special coffee, or they might be having a really special meal, or they might be doing something really exciting.
How much of this is making people miserable? Because somebody goes along and thinks, gee, they've got a really good life and mine sucks. When in fact their life probably sucks far more than yours. They just spend more time telling you how good their life is. Doesn't mean they're telling you the truth.
Yeah, it feels like the old grass is greener argument.
Yeah.
So you're seeing, because you've got lots of other people you're watching on social media and all these other people are having these wonderful lives and you're getting this constant barrage of this stuff is happening for me and this is what's happening for me and this is how good things are. And you're thinking, oh, geez, well, I had a really nice meal last week.
Ben, is this almost feeding some people's desire for voyeurism, do you think?
Voyeurism partially, but I think
Start
also...
to look at somebody else and it almost becomes voyeuristic, you know.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I couldn't imagine posting some of the stuff that people post on Facebook simply because, apart from anything else, I just can't imagine the average person would give a rat's.
Yeah.
I mean, every day I go and play golf, I could post I'm at the golf club.
Yeah.
But who cares? I mean, really, in the great scheme of the average person's life, who cares what I'm doing?
Yes. Yeah, that's true. And look, I'm also I'm one of these people who posts a lot on Facebook, but The reason I do it
usually
is tech, to share technology stories. And if it's not about sharing technology stories, it's more about promoting businesses around me. So if I'm having a coffee, I try to mention the social media profile of the coffee place I'm having a coffee at. If I like what they're doing, I'm going to give them a plug. And that's what I'm using social media for, to help boost the businesses around me and give them a bit of a lift.
Well, Jess reckons it's brand building. He says we've turned our social lives into brand. Well, how stupid is that? So you're then doing that, you're making yourself very much a public entity and then complaining that a public entity like Facebook knows so much about you.
Yeah,
I mean, really?
Yeah. I
must be missing something here. If you don't see the very, very simple principle, which everybody, especially people who are older, know. If you don't want somebody to know something about you, don't tell them.
That's basic.
I mean, it's pretty, it's not exactly Professor Julius Sumner Miller stuff, really, is it?
Yeah, we're not talking Hawking level intelligence here.
No. We're just talking about, well, if you don't want somebody to know what you're up to, don't tell them.
Exactly.
And so it's like broadcasting every day, and people think, oh, I've just got a few friends. Mm-hmm. How many friends have they got? Oh, wow, isn't this exciting? These two are having a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Facebook knows about it. Uh-huh. And when you think about it, with all the algorithms they run, how easy would it be for them to build a profile of the average person, especially those people who have to share everything they're doing on Facebook?
True. Yeah, it doesn't take much at all. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and it is what makes Facebook so valuable to advertisers. So
okay.
And I'm pretty sure I went over this last week. It happens like this. So Facebook builds a profile on you, and they know that, say Ben likes computers, he likes surfing, he likes surf lifesaving, and he's done searches on these things recently. And then Facebook can say, right, we're going to put Ben in this little category of audience. And next time someone comes along and says, I want to advertise wetsuits or surfboards to somebody, I say, oh, look, here's a whole group of people, and I'm in that little group. Yeah. And they target it because they know that fits their interest.
Kind of stuff you expect. I mean, I'm a member of lots of golf groups.
Yep.
So I get targeted with a lot of stuff, selling me everything from golf shoes to golf clubs to golf accessories.
Yep.
You expect it.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense.
Yes.
But what doesn't make sense is when you share every single aspect of your life to the point that somebody who was half switched on would be able to just about map what some people talk about what they're doing to such an extent that even if you sat down there manually and just followed that person's posts, you'd very quickly be able to build up a very comprehensive picture of what that person does in their life.
Yeah. And I think this has got a lot to do with our own behaviour online, and we've got to actually check our own behaviours before they get out of control, well, like they already have. Technology is galloping along so fast, we're having trouble in adjusting our behaviours to match it. So technology is catching us off guard. Simple as that.
Probably right. By the way, if you'd like to have a chat to Ben, if you have any technological issues, and it doesn't have to be what you decided to disclose to Facebook, it might just be you're looking at a piece of technology, whatever it is, and you're looking at it right now, and you're staring at an inanimate object. It might be a phone, might be a computer, might be a laptop, might be your iPad, doesn't matter what it is.
Yep.
Might be a smart TV.
Yes.
And right now you're thinking, I hate you. Ben's the man to talk to, trust me.
Matthew Padlich here. Did you know that all cares come with Australia's best?
882 6PR. This is Perth Tonight with Chris Ilsley.
There's the techie guy, Ben. Likes all that technological stuff.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Occupational hazard. I'm going to buy stuff that's technically related. So.
Does your wife ever get annoyed? Do you come home with something she thinks, oh, my God?
Yes.
Are you the kind of person when she's out with you and you walk past a computer shop, she just shoves you along a bit harder, stops you turning?
Well, no, we got a deal. I mean, if she wants to go shopping, and she can go and look at the things that she's interested in, and that stuff usually just drives me
except
insane.
No. Going to window shopping, no, mate, that's torture. There is undoubtedly articles of the Geneva Conventions that outlaw that. I get that.
Cruel and unusual punishment. Yes, that's right.
No question about it. But the difference is, see, when we go, we don't tend to window shop. We walk around and go, I like that. I'm going to buy that.
Yes.
That's where the fun starts.
Oh, that's what you're there for.
Cool.
Yes.
All right. No argument. I like the way you think. I've no argument whatsoever.
Yeah, if I'm going to get in the car and drive to shops, I'm going to come back with something because that's what you do.
Now, just to wrap up this thing on Facebook, and then that's it. You and I are not going to talk about this anymore.
Excellent. Yep.
Right. Do you think there is going to come a time when they are going to have to allow people to control how much information is actually passed on about them?
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually positive that there are some sort of controls on the way. So we can go through the trove of data that Facebook has on us, and we should be able to purge all of it, if not parts of it.
So to what extent are they going to allow that? I mean, one of the aspects of what they sell, you and I use the example, you're into surf lifesaving and the ocean and that, so naturally surfboards and wetsuits and that kind of stuff, that's the sort of thing they're going to market to you. They try to market golf stuff to me.
Yep.
If both of us say, thou shalt know, remember nothing about me and what I do, does that not devalue the business to advertisers? Because if I turn it off, suddenly they don't know that Chris is into golf or they don't know that Ben's into surfing.
That's right.
Does that then become a problem for them? Because they can no longer have, I mean, one of the aspects of what they do, I'm guessing, is their ability to be able to market something to people on the basis that they know what people like.
Exactly, yes. It would have some impact, and I'd say it'd only be a short-term impact because they're smart guys. They can work stuff out. So they're either going to allow us to purge parts of our profile that we don't think is appropriate anymore, or we should be able to purge our entire profile and start again, in which case we're still going to click on things, we're still going to comment, we're still going to like, we're still going to post. And all that will then go into building our profile yet again. I think
what about if we then say we don't want them to build a profile?
Well, then you can get off Facebook. I think that's going to be the rule. If you don't want to share your information on Facebook, there is an
I mean, they already say they're going to do that, but the thing is, if you want to read the terms and conditions, it'll take you about 2 days to do it.
Absolutely, yes.
Lawyers haven't even read it.
No. I haven't spent any time reading many terms and conditions. I know I should, but I just don't have the time.
Yeah, well, not only that, and the trouble is by the time you get to the end, you'll forgot what you read at the beginning.
Yes. Yeah, what's this for? Facebook, Twitter? I can't remember. Yeah.
Michael's waiting to have a chat to us. G'day, Michael.
Hey, Michael, how are you going?
Yeah, good, mate. Ben's listening. Go for it.
Well, do you not think it's rude that we take everyone's information and then just blast it out there on the internet? Like I get on my phone and I get in my car, and my phone tells me that I'm 20 minutes from home.
Yeah.
Is that not rude enough that I didn't ask my phone to tell me how far I am from home? How does it know I want to go home? I might be wanting to go to my mate's place.
Yeah.
You can turn that feature off on your phone, though.
Yeah, you can turn location sharing off on most phones, so that won't be a problem. And unfortunately, it's something that is kept. So with your location information, it does keep track of where you're going because that's what smartphones do. It will track your movements.
That's a very small part of it, though. It's tracking our voices these days. It's tracking. I don't even talk about Mario Kart these days, and yet I'm in Japan playing Mario Kart with my cousins who have the game, and yet I go on my phone, and all of a sudden Mario Kart is apparently on my top 10 list of things to do. Is that not weird or what? I don't even have an Nintendo.
No, sounds perfectly normal to how things work to me.
Look, I initially thought it was weird, and I experienced the same thing as well. So I was sitting with my wife, and we were out and we were talking about something, and then I pick up my phone and just had a quick look at Facebook or Twitter or something, and I couldn't believe it. I actually saw an ad for something we were talking about. We'd never talked about it before, and I never searched for it before. So it was a new idea, and yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I do
voice
have a
recognition.
Yes, I
There's
do.
Voice recognition software running.
Yep, I do have a feeling there is something running in the background.
I hate to be speculative in the old conspiracy theory that everyone's listening in, but it does unfortunately feel that way these days. And
yep,
I didn't ask for it. I didn't sign up for it.
They don't see. The thing is, mate.
Apparently, we do because we agree to stuff on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, they're not actually having to listen to you, Michael. They're just having to run software that picks up certain words and makes the match.
Yep. Yeah, you know that little keyword that we shout out at our phones and wakes them up? It's always listening for that keyword, isn't it? So it's,
it potentially, I suppose so, but it doesn't. When you agree to stuff, it doesn't exactly state that it's going to do that. And
it does somewhere. You've just never read it. And the reason being because if you sat down and read the terms and conditions, mate, you'd be there for a couple of days.
Oh, you would, mate. And honestly, I'm not signed up to Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, any of these devices, but yet it still seems to come through somehow.
Oh, yes. The good old smartphone. They don't call them a smartphone for nothing.
Yep.
Thanks very much for that, Michael. But like a lot of things too, I mean, all of that stuff about do you want to go home and that,
yep,
these are features you don't have to turn on. By default, they are on.
That's right.
But you can certainly jump to settings and switch them off.
Yeah. Now, look, we are seeing a bit of a crackdown in some parts of the world where they have to turn it off, and it's something you have to opt into. So thankfully, we're seeing countries in Europe, for example, that are really cracking down on social media services and also hardware manufacturers and making sure that being monitored or being having your information collected is something you opt into.
See, some of the services that they talk about, especially some of the internet services, they're based in overseas countries, even in Europe, which means that regulating them is very, very difficult. Somebody once, where was it? I think it might have been yesterday I read, where they were suggesting the internet is like another country.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Except it's like a country where everything's legal, anything goes.
Yep.
And that's one of the big problems that they have. The fact that basically it's a country over which they have no control.
Yeah.
And the more they try to have control, the less control they have.
Yes.
Because people are based in other countries, it's virtual. It's like saying, well, okay, we're going to make this site illegal. Well, that's okay. That site's just become something else as you speak.
That's right.
So keeping up with it becomes an absolute nightmare. And I think that part of the problem is that I guess for a lot of people, including those responsible for regulating it, they haven't quite worked that out yet.
No, it's like I said before, it's evolving that quickly that everyday people like you and I, who are usually pretty close to the cutting edge, we're having trouble keeping up. And governments and bureaucracies have got no chance.
No, especially with the speed they work.
Exactly.
I mean, seriously, if they were any slower, they'd stop.
Australia, the finish line is in sight. Tomorrow is the last...
Tonight with Chris Ilsley on 882 6PR.
Yes, we're joined by Ben Aylett, recognised by his Hawaiian shirts. By the way, you can check out his website, benaylett.com. We say 1L, 2 T's in Aylett. Got all the information, contact information, the whole box and dice there.
Yep.
Hello, Mary.
Oh, hello. Hello, Chris. Hello, the gentleman with you. Chris, I've opened now my mailboxes on my, iPhone 7 Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And in my inbox, I've got 41 that I will delete, but they're messages to me. I go down to junk, and then I've got all this. Is it called porn? P-O-R-N?
Yep. Usually.
Porn or
Yep.
prawn? Porn.
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 Yeah.
Porn as in short for pornography.
That's pornography. Yes, that's right.
Not pornography.
Well, goodness me, I don't know how I get them. I'm always deleting them.
Right.
And I deleted them earlier on, and now I've got another 42 here. I'll give you one here. I love you. There, I finally said it. Now, that's nothing. Adult girls plus 18.
Yeah, it's all right. We get the message. Don't have to give us. We know exactly what it's about, Mary.
Yeah.
The thing is being able to stop it. That's the challenge. Over to you, Blue Leader.
Okay. So, Mary, you basically want this to stop, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Unfortunately, the only way we can stop spam is to get a new email address. The spammers are that clever. They manage to find their ways around most spam software, or anti-spam software. And, they usually defeat it, and we're back to square one again. So you will probably need to set up a new email account. Now, you can go to gmail.com and set up an email address there, or you can go to outlook.com or hotmail.com. There are so many other places where you can set up email addresses for free, and they handle spam pretty well.
So that means that when I'm sending a business letter off, I have to put in a new email address to everybody, do I? To my family and everybody.
Yeah, this is, I actually help a lot of people with this very problem. So sometimes they have an email address that it just really doesn't fit their business or doesn't fit what they want to use it for. And so a change of email address is appropriate. In your case, your email address, it might reflect your name, and then it'd be something like @bigpond.com or at iinet.net.au. And these, they're all right, but their security is not great. So I would actually suggest that you have a look at gmail.com. So that's by the people at Google. And
that's who I'm with.
Oh, you've got a Gmail address?
I am. That is my email address.
Okay.
Gmail.
Okay. Right. You may need to set up another email address. You can go to Gmail again, but getting rid of those emails. You either, I suppose,
there is another way you can do it, especially if you're on Gmail. You can simply mark all of the stuff, right? That by putting a tick in the dialog box of all the stuff that's dubious, and then you can mark it as spam. And Gmail's pretty good. It'll then remember it as spam. The problem is that it'll keep coming. You might be able to slow it down that way, though. And we got a spam filter here that's pretty good.
I just get 40 every time I delete. I don't open them. I'm not.
No. But if you mark every one of them, you then have an option. If you then mark them with a tick, every one of those ones, you then have an option. It's I think from memory, is it what's it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think it's a hexagon that with the exclamation mark, it says report spam. So if you tick everything that is spam, and then click on report spam, it'll firstly send it to the spam folder, but secondly, it tells Google that it's spam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So every one of those ones you could mark with a tick and then click report spam. It will report all of those sites as spam sites, and it will send those to your spam folder.
Have I got a spam folder?
If you're on Gmail, you have a spam folder. It's automatically there.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
You'll find it under more labels.
Oh, Okay, thank you so much.
No, thank you, Mary.
No problem.
It's frustrating, though, isn't it?
It is annoying. And the problem is that the spammers can usually find a way around the countermeasures we put up. So it's a game of cat and mouse.
Yeah, but what's the point? I mean, really, are people responding to this?
No. It doesn't matter if
I
people
mean, mate,
respond
when
to it or
it
not.
comes to spam, right, I've been offered so many penis enlargements and so much Viagra, I've got an inferiority complex.
Well, look, it's the reason why spammers do it obviously is for the money, but they don't get paid on the amount of clicks that go through the spam campaign. They get paid on the number they send out and hit and the live addresses that they hit. So
It's one of the reasons why even when I go on holidays, I never turn auto reply on. Because something that's always occurred to me, if you get sent spam email and you have an auto reply turned on that says I'm out of the office for the next 3 days, what you're doing is telling every spammer that might spam you in that time that they've hit a live email address.
Yes. Yeah, so auto replies, use with caution, and also using your main email address in filling in forms or joining up services. Just get another junk email address and let it go through there.
Sounds a good idea.
Yep.
Now, before we finish up, you have got a little blast from the past.
I sure have.
Good old-fashioned Commodore 64.
Yep.
These things in their day, relative to what people were earning, cost an absolute mozza.
Yep. And this one, it's half the size, a fraction of the cost. It's $150, and you can get them from EB Games and JB Hi-Fi. And these are a half-size replica, a working replica, I might add, of the Commodore 64. So it's got around about 64 programs included in it, and one of them is also the Commodore 64 Basic. And is it
a variation on the theme like the old Space Invaders machines we got out there?
Yes. Yes, it is a variation on the theme.
We got one of the old Space Invaders machines out there.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Case of Back to the Future, really. It's funny how they're really old.
Yep.
Very, very primitive by today's standards, but really good fun.
They are awesome fun. The one thing I found very interesting is when I unboxed this with my son, he was actually quite fascinated with this thing. He knows what a Commodore 64 means. He's never seen one in the flesh, and he's never actually seen people using it. But when I broke this out of the box, he looked and he recognised that, this is a piece of computer history. I get this. And so we plugged it in, and we had a look at some of the arcade games, and they're the blocky 8-bit games, or pretty average games. But then we found we found Commodore Basic, the C64 Basic, the programming language that you use to write programs in on the C64. And we went through simple things like printing stuff on the screen, taking in an input, and then calculating stuff, and then spitting out an answer. And he was hooked. He actually got it. He understood.
One of the reasons why is because in those days, the language was simple.
Yeah, that's right.
Very, very basic, very, very simple.
Yep. Yeah, and
which is just perfect.
Yeah,
it's exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, and I was just absolutely thrilled to see him take to this and really go with it. So he doesn't spend nearly as much time on the internet as he used to. He uses the internet now for research, which is what it should be used for. And he is researching commands and things that he can use to make this little computer do stuff. And he'll quite happily sit there and type away 30 or 40 lines of code and then run it. It won't work, but he'll then go through and he'll start checking his work, which
beautiful.
Is awesome.
Absolutely perfect.
Absolutely awesome. So less than $200 for all the gear you need, and you'll have yourself a computer from the 35 years ago.
Beautiful.
Really
As
cool.
always, thank you very much. We'll have a chat to you next week.
Always a ball. I'll catch you then.
By the way, there is one L, 2 T's in Aylett. BenAylett.com is the website.
When buying a used vehicle, you want choice.